Welcome to K21Acadremy. In this video, our cloud expert will guide you how to create and configure local peering gateways or LPGs in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. In this video, you will learn how to create LPGs in both of your VCNs, learn how to link the LPGs to enable communication between VCNs, configuring route tables and security lists to ensure seamless communication. By the end of the video, you will have a comprehensive understanding of setting up and configuring LPGs in OCI. Stay tuned until the end of the video for a free class from K21Acadremy to know how can you start your journey in Oracle Cloud. So let's get started.
So the scenario is that, for example, you have your company and you are using a separate VCNs for development, testing, and production environment. So you want to use the local pairing gateway to facilitate the secure communication between them so that they can communicate with each other, with all the resources can communicate with each other. So that's the reason you have to use the local pairing gateway. So in this lab, we will see how to set up that local pairing connection. So this is the content of our lab guide. So here we can see a quick architecture diagram for our VCN. So in this one, we can see that we have VCN1 and we have another VCN, which is VCN2. And you can see the CIDR blocks, the IP ranges for that. And here we can see that if we want to connect both the VCNs together, so we need to have the LPG, which is a local pairing gateway. So we need to set up two local pairing gateways so that they can communicate with each other. For example, if you want to connect with your on-prem network, like your other legacy sources, so for that you have to use something called customer premises equipment, the CPE, so which utilizes your site-to-site VPN or the fast connect connection. So you can choose any of them. And on top of that, you have to also include the dynamic routing gateway. So with the help of dynamic routing gateway, you will be able to communicate to your on-prem networks. And we know that to communicate to internet over the public network, you have to have this internet gateway. So here in the VCN, we can see that we have two subnets. So one being the public and the second is the private subnet. So in this lab, we'll see how to access Oracle Cloud Console, how to navigate to the VCN screen, how to select the VCN for which we want to use the local pairing, how to configure the local pairing gateway, which is the LPG, and how to define the pairing relationship. So we need to define two LPGs for each VCN, and after that, we will define the pairing relationship between them. And after that, we will review and confirm whether all the connection and all the setup is correct or not. Also, we need to update the route table rules so that they have the proper connectivity. At last, we will validate and test. So before that, so these are the few key concepts that we should know. So what are compartments? So the compartments are basically the logical groups of OCI resources. So we can create compartment to separate the resources, and we know that so the quotas and the budget can be set at the compartment level, so which allows us to restrict how many instances of the given resources can be deployed and how many we can also enable the cost tracking on them. So the VCN, so VCN is the software defined networks. So we can define multiple VCNs in our OCI in the OCI connection. So for our tenancy, we can define multiple VCNs. So make sure that all the VCNs are like separate, they are not overlapping. And in each VCN, so we can have different subnets, we can have public subnet so that it permits the internet connectivity over the public network. So also we can define the private subnet, so which ensure that the only the private resources can interact with each other within the OCI. Then we have the internet gateway. So this comes under the route table rules. So for that, we need to have the internet gateway in case we want to define the internet connectivity For that, we need to set up the internet gateway. So the route table is that's basically the crucial networking component. So in which we define the routing rules. For example, we want to use the internet gateway, so that we have to define in the route table. If we want to use the other gateways like service gateway and NAT gateways, so that also we can define in our route tables. So as we discussed that private subnet is the subdivision of VCN, so that doesn't allow instances within it to have the public IP addresses. So they will have their own private addresses, but they can communicate with each other within the VCNs. Then we have the local pairing gateway, so which facilitates the connectivity between two VCNs. So that's our agenda of this lab guide. So we will set up the local pairing gateway. Compute instance, so that's basically the virtual machine, or you can define a bare metal server as per your configuration. So which is a machine that you can spin up, you can log in, you can connect to that machine using putty, and you can have this compute instance as a, you can assign a public as well as the private IP address for that instance. So these are the few documentation links that you can refer. For example, how to launch an instance, how to create the VCN, what is local VCN pairing, how to launch the instance, create VCN, and remote VCN pairing across regions. So these are the official documentation links which you can refer to. Coming to the prerequisite for this lab, guys, so make sure that you have your VCN, subnet, security list, gateways, and route tables already created. So for that, we have to have all these resources. And in case you have not done that, so you can follow this lab guide. And also make sure that your application host connect to database listener port if you want to connect to your database in the private subnet. So these are the few guides that you can refer to. So coming to our lab guide, so the first step is we will create a compartment. So in this we will be using two types of compartment. Well, one would be the primary and second would be the secondary compartment. So for that, so because compartment is used to separate the resources, so we will have two compartment, primary and secondary, and in that we have the instances. Then we will use both the instances, we will use both the compartments and all the VCNs in that we will define, and we will have the local pairing gateway connection between them. So to create compartment, so first we need to log into OCA console. After that, we need to go to the identity section of that. Under compartment, we will create the compartment. So let's go to our OCI console. So this is our OCI console, as we can see. So now we have to go to the identity section. So click on this navigation menu, go to identity and security, and under that you go to compartments. So here it will list down all the compartments which are already available. So here we can see that the secondary compartment is already created, and the tenancy name, which is this one, Atul Cloud K21. So that's our root compartment. And here you can see the same thing. So in identity and security compartments. So this is our root compartment. And after that, we have these compartment, which are the child compartment. And here we can see the secondary compartment. So if we see the secondary, so what is the parent compartment? So parent compartment is the root compartment. So this is how we will define the compartment in case the secondary compartment is not available. So what you can do, you can click on create compartment. You have to give the name of the compartment, description, and here you need to choose the parent compartment. For example, if we have selected the root, so which means that this compartment will be created under the root compartment. So the same way we have created this secondary compartment. After giving these details, simply click on create compartment. So now we can see that this secondary compartment is already created. So we will skip this part. So here we can see the secondary compartment is there. So the next is create the VCN in the primary compartment, which is the root compartment. So in that, we need to check whether the VCN is already available. So in case the VCN is not available, so what you can do, you can click on create VCN, and after that you can define all these uh, parameters for that. So the compartment is root, VCN name is the primary, this is the CIDR range, and after providing all these detail, you click on create VCN. So let's go to the VCN. So go to navigation menu. So go to networking. Under that, you have this virtual cloud network. This is the VCN section. So here we need to first select the compartment. So we will be selecting the root compartment. So here we can see that this is the VCN, and what is the CIDR range for that, which is this one. And under that, we can see that we have two subnets, private and the public. And we have one internet gateway, NAT gateway, and service gateway. So in case you want to follow this guide, so if the VCN is not created, so you can create another VCN in that. So for example, let's see if we can create a new VCN like primary. So we have selected the compartment and clicked on this create VCN. So here we will give the name as primary VCN. So this is the primary VCN. And here we have to define the CIDR block. So the CIDR block is basically the range in which the IP addresses will be there. So now to check the CIDR range for that CIDR, so which all IP addresses are included in that CIDR. So we have one website, so which is ipaddressguide.com/CIDR. So in this one, you simply need to you need to give the CIDR. So for example, our CIDR is this one. So after that, we will click on calculate. So which will give you the first IP address in that CIDR range. And this is the last IP address. And here you can see the total hosts that are there in that CIDR block. So accordingly, you can choose your CIDR block. And for now, because this CIDR block is already used, so we will choose any other CIDR block which is not used. So for example, let us choose 16.0.0.0/16. So here we can see if we give the CIDR block, so these are the IP addresses. And here we can see that we have given these information. For example, you have to give this primary VCN, the name of the VCN, select the virtual cloud networks, and this is the CIDR range. For example, we have given our own range, and after that, click on create VCN. And here we need to give, and after that, you can press enter or you can directly select that CIDR and click on create VCN. So here you can see that the VCN is created. So it has no subnet, but it has this route table, which is there. It auto created this security list. And we can see that there is no gateway which is attached to it. There is no internet gateway. There is no NAT or service gateway. So now what we'll do, so we will create the public subnet. And here you can see that inside that VCN, so we will create the primary subnet, which is the public subnet. And we can give the block. So the subnet access would be the public subnet. And after that, we can see that the subnet will be created. So here click on create subnet. So here we can give the name as public subnet. So this would be the IPv4 CIDR block. So this should be under the same CIDR block of our main CIDR. So for example, we can choose /24, click on calculate. So here we can see that the total number of IP addresses that we can have is 256. So now we can use this CIDR block. And also you can choose the subnet type either regional or the availability domain specific. So for now we will be going with this regional subnet. So this is the public subnet, and also the subnet access, which is the public subnet. So here you can select the route table, which is the default route table for the primary VCN. And here also you can select the security list. So here you can see that it already said that it includes 256 IP addresses. So by this way you can able to see that how many IP addresses are there in that CIDR block. So after giving all these information, so we will click on create subnet. The next step is to create the internet gateway. So in this one, we will create the new internet gateway. So which will help us to connect our VCN to the public network over the internet. So that's the reason we need this internet gateway. So now go to the internet gateway section. So click on create internet gateway, and here you can give IGW1, which is internet gateway 1, and this will be created in the root compartment, which is the same compartment of our VCN, and click on create internet gateway. So now we can see that this particular internet gateway is created, but we have not assigned this one to any route table. So the next step is configuring the route table. So we will configure the default route table for the primary VCN, and in that we will add the route rule for this internet gateway. So here we can see that we are giving the CIDR destination, and we are selecting the internet gateway, and we are creating this route rule. So now we will go to this route tables. So here we can see the total number of rule under this route table is 0. So now we will add a new rule. So click on this add route rules. So here we will select the target type as internet gateway, and the destination CIDR we can give as this one. So now if we check the CIDR block, so this is basically the invalid format because this includes the all the IP addresses that are available. So this is the global IP CIDR block, and here we can select the internet gateway, which is IGW1, and click on add rules. All right, so this route rule is added. So the target type is internet gateway and the target is IGW1, which we have created. So the next one is the now we will launch an instance. So this instance will be using the same VCN. So in case you don't have the instance created, so you can create the instance for that. So for example, we will go to the root compartment. In that we can create a new instance, and here we can see that we have selected all these options, and also the primary VCN. The VCN we have selected as primary, so which we have created just now. So let's create a instance. So we'll go to the navigation menu, and under that we will go to compute and then instances. So now we can see that in the root compartment, so we don't have any instance. So here we will create the instance, click on create, and here we will give the name, which is a primary VM1. And here we can choose the placement. So in which availability domain we need to place this instance. So since Ash1 has three availability domains, so that's the reason we are getting 81, 82, and 83. So in case you have selected any region which has only one availability domain, so in that case you cannot choose other availability domains. So here we can see the image and the shape. So this is the Linux 8, which is the freeware. And here you can select the shape. For example, click on shape, and we will go with the Ampere one, so which is always eligible free. So click on select, and from here you can select the number of OCPUs and amount of memory that you need to have for this VM. And after that, click on select shape. So here we can see that since we are creating our instance in the root compartment, and it automatically detects the VCN which is present in that. So that says it has selected the primary VCN and also the public subnet in that. After that, we need to add the SSH keys so that we can log into this particular VM. So in case you have already generated the SSH key pair, so you can go and click on paste public keys, or otherwise you can directly generate a new key pair from here by clicking on save private key and save public key. So since we have already have this public key, so we will use the same key for that. So for that, we need to simply paste the public key. So here we have copied the public key and we have pasted the public key in this one. And you can also specify the different and the custom boot volume size. So in that you check on this option, and after that you can increase the boot volume size. So it is the range is between this particular values. You can also control the boot volume performance. So we will go with the default one for now, but you can change these values as well. And after that, by providing all these details, so we have given the name, the placement, we have selected the image and shape, the VCN information, the SSH keys, and after that we will click on this create button. So here we can see that the instance is being provisioned. So once it is provisioned, so we can see that the public IP address and all will be working, and we can go back and we can see the state as well in here. So now the next step is to create the VCN in the secondary compartment. So we will go to the secondary compartment. In that we will we will create this VCN. So let's go to the VCN section again, go to networking, virtual cloud networks. And here we can see that this is the primary VCN that we have. So in the secondary one, so we can see that we don't have any VCN, but here we will create our secondary VCN. So either you can go ahead and repeat the same process, or if you want, you can click on the start VCN wizard so that it will automatically create all the components in that. So for now, we can also go with this start VCN wizard. And here we will select this create VCN with internet connectivity. Click on start VCN wizard. And here we can see that these options we need to provide. What is the VCN name, which is secondary VCN? What is the compartment, which is secondary again? So here we need to give the CIDR block. So we can give the CIDR block as 17, so which is not overlapping with the previous CIDR block that we had given. So you can check which all IP addresses are available. So these are the IP addresses. And here we can see that it automatically creates the public and the private subnet, and that's the reason we have to give this IPv4 CIDR block for public and the private subnet. So since we have changed the CIDR block for the VCN, so here also we need to change it so that it is contained by our main CIDR block. So simply change the values. So it will automatically create all the route table rules, all the security list configuration, and also it will create all these sub gateways. So internet gateway, NAT gateway, and service gateway. So here you can see the information. All right. So after that, you can click on this create button. So it will automatically create all these resources. And once everything is done, so you can click on this view VCN button. So here we can see that our VCN is created. It has two public subnets. Oh, sorry, the private and the public two subnets. It has the private and the public. So it has two route tables, one for the public and second one for the private. It has this internet gateway, NAT gateway, and the service gateway. So we have completed this one. So we automatically created all the subnets. We created the VCNS secondary compartment subnet we have created. So we have created the internet gateway as well. We have configured the route table rules automatically. And now what we will do, we will create another instance in our secondary compartment. So now we will create this instance. So for that, we need to go to navigation menu, compute, instances. So here we can see that in secondary compartment, we don't have any instance, but in our root compartment, so we can see that the primary VM1 is already running. That means it is already provisioned. So now we will go to the secondary compartment and here we will create our new instance. So for that, click on create instance. So the same steps we have to repeat. We have to select all these information that we had selected earlier. So the only thing that we need to note is that we are selecting this secondary VCN1 and after that we will create this local pairing. So first create this instance. So this is secondary VM1. The compartment is secondary again. So image and shape. So here you can see the summary. So now we will change the shape for the ampere one. You can choose the OCPU and the amount of memory to be included. And here it automatically selected this secondary VCN and the public subnet. So here we will add this public SSH key. And after that, we will click on this create button. So all these information we have to provide. And after that, we will click on create. So this will take a little 1 or 2 minutes to being provisioned. So after that, we will create this local pairing gateways in the primary and the secondary compartment. So this is our VCN1 and this is VCN2. So we need two LPGs and after that we will establish the pairing relationship between them. So for that, first we need to go to our VCN and under the resources, we see the local pairing gateway. So here we will go and click on create local pairing gateway. And for the primary one, we will give the name as primary LPG1. So let's go to the VCN. So networking, virtual cloud networks. So first we will go to the primary VCN, which is the in the root compartment. So go to the primary VCN and under the resources, we see the local pairing gateway. Right now we don't have any local pairing gateway, so we will create a one for us. So click on create local pairing gateway, give it a name. So we have given the name as primary LPG1. Click on create local pairing gateway. And also we will create the LPG in the secondary compartment for the secondary VCN. And here we can see that the pairing status is a new, that is not connected to a pair. So we will go back to the VCN. We will go to secondary. Here we have the secondary VCN. So under that we have this local pairing gateway and click on create local pairing gateway. So we will give a name as secondary LPG1 So we are creating in the secondary compartment and click on create local pairing gateway. So now the state is available and the status is new, which is not connected to a pair. So now how to establish a connection? So for that, we will go to the primary VCN. So under that, we have this primary LPG1. This is our local pairing gateway. So we need to click on this section and click on establish primary connection. So let's go to our primary VCN. So this is the primary VCN that we have. So now we will go to local pairing gateways, and here we see this quick action, and we will click on this establish pairing connection. So now it will ask to give you all these information. So what is the virtual cloud network compartment, which is the one that we have selected? What is the virtual cloud network that we will be using? So we need to select this as secondary, and this is the secondary VCN. And after that, we need to select the local pairing gateway compartment and the pairing gateway. So select this as secondary, local pairing network secondary VCN, and local pairing gateway compartment, which is again secondary. And what is the unpaired gateway? So here it will give you all the unpaired pair gateways. So from that list, we have to select any of them. So right now we have secondary LPG1. So which means that from the primary LPG, we are connecting to the secondary LPG. So this is how we need to give. We need to select the secondary VCN and this secondary LPG. And after giving all this information, click on establish pairing connection. So after that, so we can see that the pairing status would be paired. So which means that we have created the pairing from the primary to the secondary. So which means that from the primary virtual machine, which is using the primary VCN, so we will be able to connect to the secondary virtual machine, which is using the secondary VCN. So this is how we will test. We will log into the primary VM, and after that we will issue the command to test the connectivity. So let's log in to our, so first the pairing status is pending. So let's wait for the pairing to be established. So now we can see that the status is pair, which is connected to a pair. So it will basically takes 1 or 2 minutes for the pairing to be established. And now we can see that it is paired. So let's log into our primary VCN or primary virtual machine, and also make sure that your secondary virtual machine is up and running. So we'll go to instances again. So this is the primary virtual machine, and also make sure that the secondary virtual machine is also up and running. So now we will go and connect to this primary virtual machine. So this is the public IP. So just copy that IP and log in with the help of putty. So I've already saved the configuration. So that's the reason I've just loaded it. And in case you are establishing this SSH connection first time, you have to give your host name, the port, and under the SSH, under the oath, credential. So you have to give the PPK key if you are using this putty. So let's go ahead and then click on open to establish a connection to our virtual machine. So click on accept. So here we will log in as OPC user, and here we can see that we are now connected. So now we will first issue a command. So which is, so here we can see that we are able to see the IP configurations for this particular machine. So now what we will do, we will just copy the public IP for the secondary virtual machine. So let's go to the secondary compartment. So under that we have this public IP for the secondary virtual machine. So we'll copy this one, and now we'll try to ping this IP from our primary virtual machine. So now as we can see that we are able to receive the response. So which means that we are able to connect to this particular network. So which means that our local pairing gateway is working. But if we try from any other computer, like for example, any other system, any other virtual machine, so we will not be able to do that, because for that, first we need to enable our local peering connection, then only we will be able to. So right now we have tested this particular lab, we have done this lab. So now what we can do, we can go ahead and then we will terminate this secondary virtual machine, and also make sure that you are selecting this option while terminating the instance, so which is permanently delete the attached boot volume. So click on terminate instance, and similarly, so you can terminate the primary instance as well. So we'll go back to instances, go and select the primary virtual machine 1 and click on terminate to terminate or delete the instance. Click on terminate instance. So it will take 1 or 2 minutes, and after that our instance will be terminated. And similarly, you can go ahead and then delete the VCNs if not required, so that it is not incurring any charges. So thanks for joining this lab.
Thank you so much for staying with us till the end of the video. Now all you have to do is just enter K21Academy.com/OCI02 and you will be redirected to this page. Now enter name, enter email ID, enter phone number and click on register now, and then you will be redirected to a thank you page. Also, you can add this session to a Google Calendar or Apple Calendar, and I promise this is something that you don't want to miss. So go ahead, click on the link and step into the world where learning knows no boundaries. Till then, keep enjoying. I'll see you in the next video.